This is One on One. There he is. He's been with us before. Marc Edenzon, President and CEO, Special Olympics New Jersey. Good to see you, Marc.
Steve, glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
You guys have been doing great stuff for a long time. By the way, before we even get into anything else, let's plug the USA Games coming up.
Yes.
When is it and why is it so big?
June 14th, it begins the arrival of athletes to the 21st of June.
June 14th to the 21st, 2014. This will air before and after. Huge. Why?
Well, we thought it was important for two reasons to bid on the Games. One, we believe that we had a responsibility to the movement. So we thought we could bring innovation, media, and a new funding model to support the Games. On the other hand, it was somewhat selfish. We believed also that by hosting these Games...
Oh, you said bidding on the Games like other people wanted it. Who else wanted the USA Games?
We had to compete with Seattle, Kansas City, and Boston, and it was between Boston and New Jersey, and we won the bid.
Of course.
Of course.
It's Boston, it's us.
Exactly.
So, and what happens when everybody comes here?
Well, we're going to have 3,500 athletes from throughout the country competing in 16 sports over that entire week. A lot of special events. We expect a lot of family members because we have 20 delegations using ground transportation to attend. So extended family, friends, volunteers, we anticipate an influx of Special Olympics family members coming to the area.
What's it going to mean from an economic point of view?
It looks like it's going to be about $116 million impact over that week.
How does that work?
Well, we've booked every single hotel room from New Brunswick down to Trenton to Langhorne, Pennsylvania, over to Bordentown. So we know between the volunteers, the family members, and many of the sponsors who are going to be engaged in the event that we're going to have large participation and spectatorship.
You know, your colleague and partner, TJ Nelligan,
yes.
Who was on our sister program, Life and Living with Joanna Gagos, our executive producer, talked about this as well. So we're doing everything we can as a media partner to promote this. But I've always been fascinated by your history. Is it 37 years that you've been involved in this?
Yeah, I started volunteering in the mid-1970s. And,
why?
Well, it was interesting. I just changed majors all of a sudden back in school and decided to go in the field of special education and working with families. And once as a volunteer, I found that there were so many opportunities. Back in '84, took a job with New Jersey, had a chance to work with Mrs. Shriver and Sarge down in Washington for 3 years.
Sergeant Shriver.
Yes, a wonderful experience down at the international headquarters, and then came back and in 1995 took over the program here in New Jersey.
The Kennedys were a key to this?
Eunice Kennedy Shriver was absolutely incredible, just a champion before her time, and really did the research in her backyard in the beginning of 1962. First national games, 68 in Soldiers Field in Chicago, were international because Sarge was ambassador to France.
That's right.
And he brought in France and Canada to participate, but just had a vision that has taken off to over 170 countries who now participate. Probably about 4 million athletes worldwide. So it was unbelievable how it started in her backyard and just grew to be this global movement.
For those who've never been to a Special Olympics event, I was fortunate enough way back in the day. I think I told you this in another interview. I was in college in New York at a little small private college, Iona, in New Rochelle. And they had this, the Christian Brothers who ran the school would mandate that we volunteered. And I don't know exactly why, but they had Special Olympics there. And I volunteered there. And I remember this young kid, his name was Marty. I don't know why I remember him. He was the kid that they connected me with. And we would run. And I remember this kid for an entire year. I was with him. I don't know why they connect you with one person. And it was this incredible experience. That happens millions of times, doesn't it?
It does.
And you never forget it, right?
It does. The fraternity of sport is pretty remarkable. Athletes accept athletes. And so what happens is Special Olympics levels the playing field. And
levels the playing field.
It's an inclusive experience. What happens now is just not the traditional sports where athletes come and then work with volunteers. We're finding now that our unified sports program, which is inclusive sports, bringing typical children and atypical children and placing them on the same teams, just being a remarkable initiative that's helping our athletes transition into the community. Bob Benjamin, who was a great volunteer for us, a corporate person, he golfs every week with Daryl Finney, competes with Daryl Finney in golf, and stands on the award stands every year in the sectional and the state events. So people from the community come out, not just volunteering to help, but they come out and play side by side our athletes.
About your family, your kids?
It's just a lot of fun. It's somewhat of the culture of Special Olympics. I have a wonderful son who is going to be 16 years old. He has Down syndrome. We always say that if there's 12 divisions, and 12 being the lowest division, Zach will be playing soccer in that division. If there's 4 teams, he'll probably place 4th, and if he's last off the bench, it's going to be Zach. But the remarkable thing is Zachary's going to wear a Montgomery uniform. Zachary's part of a team. He's part of a soccer team in the fall, volleyball in the winter, basketball. He's part of a track team, and he has his friends. And the great thing about it is not only is it his program, but we also have that unified program element where we have kids from the high school who come and mentor him and play with him and help teach him sports. So when you talk about year-round athletes, I have a daughter who's a rower and a son right now who's playing golf, but he's my year-round athlete. He's the guy who plays September right through June.
What has it done for your other children other than Zach?
I think it's really created a wonderful dimension of perspective, understanding people who are different. And it goes beyond disabilities. It's understanding your community and realizing that everybody has a worth, everybody has a talent, everybody has something they can give back to the community. And Zachary has never said anything bad about anybody. He has limited speech. He's never not woken up a morning smiling. We cherish every opportunity we have to take him everywhere we go. And you look at someone like that, and he changes our lives, he changed our kids' lives, and he changes lives around him when he goes out into the community and people get to know him.
What's it done for you?
It really taught me something different. I worked with this organization for years, and once I became a parent and understanding who Zachary was and what Zachary had in the way of needs, I realized that Special Olympics wasn't providing programs for young athletes, and we kind of broke the rules back then and started a program when he was 4 years old. And with the research and working with a great gal, Ellen Anderson, out of back then University of Medicine and Dentistry, created this young athlete program. And it's launched worldwide. And now what we do is we get those kids when they're 2.5 to 3 years old, right out of early intervention, and start getting them to play sport with their parents. Guess what? We all coach our kids in T-ball. We all coach our kids in youth soccer.
You're a coach at heart.
Well, yeah, and you love that stuff with your kids, but what happens when you have a child with a disability, you tend to concentrate more on medical needs, therapy needs, school placement, preschool curriculum, and you miss the chance to coach. So the whole Young Athlete program really connects the mom and the child, the dad and the child, and provides them the opportunity to be a youth coach. And what we hope to do is to transition that parent and athlete into age 8, 9, 10-year-old programs so that the parent is a youth sports coach, and that kid who's 2.5, 3 years old becomes a competitive soccer player when they're eligible.
I have your website up. Still looking for volunteers?
Absolutely. We have over 160 competitions throughout the year, 24 sports. We have 23,000 athletes now in our program. So there's opportunities in every community, all seasons. It's just the program just continues to grow. These games are going to put it out of the park for us.
It's going to be big.
It's going to be really big, and you know what? We're going to change the culture of how people look at individuals with disabilities. Our hope is that when Zachary walks into a grocery store or an athlete walks into a grocery store, they look at him as an athlete. They look at him as a potential person who could contribute to the community, whether it be on a competitive or recreational softball team, on a high school team, or in some job that would be available in the community. Individuals with disabilities are part of our community, and hopefully that message will come out with these games.
It's important stuff, great stuff, and we are honored to be your media partner, and we'll continue to do everything we can to promote not just the USA Games, but the work of the Special Olympics New Jersey. Thank you, Marc.
We totally appreciate your support. Thank you, sir.
It's mutual. This is One on One. I'm Steve Adubato. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you, Marc.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One on One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Activists in cooperation with the American Medicine Chest Challenge, Choose New Jersey, NJIT, Health Republic Insurance of New Jersey, the New Jersey Education Association, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. And by the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.